Hey, I'm Richard Miller with Goldie May, and this is the live genealogy research series. Watch as James Tanner and I, along with invited guests, work through a genealogy problem with no script and no agenda. Maybe you'll learn from the big strategy, maybe you'll learn from the small features and the tools, or maybe you'll just see a better way to do it and you can leave a comment so we can all learn. I hope you find this really helpful. Now, here is the research. Okay, welcome to episode 14. I have Nicole Elder Dyer back, and she's going to give us part 3 of the Research Like a Pro process. We thought it would be 2 videos, but it ended up being 3 because there's just a lot to show. And so we wanted to do this third video to wrap it up. So, Nicole, I'll turn it over to you. And I know you've got a few places to take us today.
Yes, I do. We've got a few things to wrap up. So, where we had left off last time was we had found some deeds, and I said I was going to go through the index and just get everyone with the surname Darnold and put it in the research log. So, as you can see, I found about 8 deeds here with the Darnell or Darniel surname. Some say Darnold. And so I'm assuming those are all kind of the same Darnold family. And it didn't say first names, it just said first initials, but it did give us the date and the deed book number and the page number. And then it gave us like a little information about what it was included in that deed. So I
Okay.
think Bill S stands for Bill of Sale. 50 MC, I'm guessing probably means 50 acres on Mill Creek.
Oh, okay.
And you'll remember that Clement lived in Mill Creek as well as some of the other Darnolds that we think are his family.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this land changing hands in Mill Creek.
Okay.
So that all looks really interesting. The Mort, I think, stands for mortgage.
Okay.
It could be a deed of trust. Like I've done a few of these before where somebody is basically mortgaging some personal property for a loan in order to get some money. So that could be what it is. And it
Okay.
looks like B Darnold to C Darnold, they would be like mortgaging it to a family member. C could be
Uh,
Clement even. And here's another C that could be Clement and another one. So what we're hoping to find, right, is some more evidence that Clement is the son of Francis Noland, who married William Darnold. And we had already found them on the tax records. So looking at these deeds, I was trying to think like which one would be a good place to start off looking for evidence of that. Well, if you remember, we
hmm.
had found, we didn't find Fanny or Frances on the 1850 census, but we had found her here in the 1840, although we didn't know it was her, right? Because I would just totally was not thinking that this Frances Darnold
Oh,
was,
right. It was a little,
I was like,
yeah.
oh, this could be a brother, but it was actually the widow because we had this information here from that I had just like gotten from Tree somewhere, I guess, that William didn't die till 1858. So
Oh,
I was
right.
thinking we
But it
were
was much
looking for
earlier.
William Darnold, but
Yeah.
apparently he had died and we saw her, we kind of figured that out in the tax records that he died about 1828, 1829. So we could probably change our notes here. Frances Darnold was probably the older woman.
Oh, right. Yes.
And there's also a male 20 to 29 in the household. So there's some other people in the household, but she's probably that older woman. So we can update that. And then we had found, like I said, the tax list right here that there was Blackwell and Fanny was probably the mother of Blackwell and Clement, and she was likely widowed. And then we had even found William. I think this was in 1828. And so we knew that he had the 64 and a half acres on Mill, which I think stands for Mill Creek. And then he must have died after 1828. And then Fanny was taxed the next year. She
Hmm.
was still living in 1840. And on both of those, she's kind of near Clement. So we have some pretty good evidence. I just thought we should check, reasonably exhaustive research. We should check these deeds and see what we can find. But I didn't see any that had like an F for Francis in them.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have W, Darnell, D. So that could be William. That could be Francis's husband. And D, Darnell. C, Darnell could be Clement. So at the time period that we probably would find some kind of relationship would probably be like after William died. But I guess we could still use indirect evidence that if Clement is listed as a son of William, that's also, pretty good evidence that he was the son of William's wife. And we do have the marriage record. Have we talked about this yet?
No, I was going to ask, go ahead and talk about that connection.
So William Darnall married Fanny Nolan in 1804 in Fauquier. Now, this would have been really good
Okay.
to put in our starting point information in our timeline. We should
Yeah.
have put this in because it does have that place where we had put it in our hypothesis.
Oh, that's great.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So we know they were married. So if we find evidence that William was the father of Clement, then that's like another piece of indirect evidence that Fanny was the mother of Clement, which is our ultimate goal for this line of the proof argument. So yeah, I guess we just need to pick one of
Okay.
these and go look and see what we can find. And probably if we had all the time in the world, we would just do all of them because you
Okay.
never know where you're going to find evidence. But do you want to pick one?
And would you not? Yeah, I will. What would you expect Fanny to not appear in a deed until her husband's passed? Or is it
Well,
rare or is it common?
it depends on the state. And I guess we'll see when we dive into these. I can't remember if Kentucky is one where the woman has to sign off on deeds that her husband makes. I know in Virginia and North Carolina and some other states, the woman has to say like, oh yeah, you can do that. Like I agree and my husband is able to sell this land. So
Okay.
sometimes they will be listed. I've seen that a lot in Fauquier, Virginia, where it says, and that's actually where I got the name of Bathsheba Arnold, who's higher up in this proof argument, Fanny Nolan, like her aunt, I think. Anyways, let's just pick a deed and see what we can see.
Okay. Am I throwing a dart or should I use some logic here? Let's see.
Well, the logic I was thinking would be any of these ones with Mill Creek, because that's the land where we know William and
They
Francis
lived, huh?
lived and were taxed.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the
How about?
64 acres like looks pretty good to me because
Oh, yeah. That's a
isn't
great
that
thought.
what they were taxed for?
64 and a half, I think you'd said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would probably
Okay.
look
Let's
at
do
that
that one.
first.
Let's go with your thought here.
I just don't know who HS, and I wonder if that could actually be F, because
Oh,
sometimes the
okay.
index has it wrong.
Yeah.
So the link
Okay.
that I have here is going to take us to the index page, but that's okay. Once we get there, then I use this information tab to get us back to the catalog.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So we need book 18, page
Okay.
256.
All right.
Book 18.
18.
So the first set of images will be book 17, and then the second set will be book 18. So I'm going to zoom way out. And it looks like the beginning of this deed book has its own index, so that's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, that's probably book 17. So let's go
okay.
down.
So 17.
Let's see what this one is. Okay, volume 18.
Volume 18. Okay.
Now 256. Let's see, maybe like 50, 100. Venture made the 6th day of December, 1838, between Samuel Arnold and Frances, his wife, and Darnold.
Blackwell Darnold.
Wow. This is so interesting. I'm remembering something. Frances Arnold and Blackwell Darnold. Okay.
It's weird that the names are slightly different.
Well, Arnold. So if you'll remember, my proof argument is for Humphrey Arnold's descendants.
Mm-hmm.
And Humphrey Arnold had a daughter who married a Noland, and they had a daughter named Frances Noland. But then here we have Francis, his wife, Samuel Arnold. I'm just like, who is this Samuel Arnold? I'd have to look in the tree.
Oh, okay.
Could be the fan club intermarrying. And Blackwell Darnold. What does that say? It's kind of blurry. John something and Mary, his wife, and Nancy Darnold and Goosenberry Sidebottom. Wow. And Elizabeth, his wife. Okay. I know what's going on here. This is amazing. this is a list of children of somebody
Oh,
and their spouses, and it's the land division, I think.
okay.
So this is like
So you've
something
seen this
good.
before when it's a list of
Yes.
people. Okay.
Yes, and they list their
Yeah.
wives, or yeah, so usually the wives are the daughters. So what I want to do is, instead of just like reading this, I'm going to transcribe it at the same time.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So let's do it in the research project document. That'll be a good place. So here are the findings and analysis. Let's see. So usually first I write the citation, and we already kind of have it almost done. So we can just quickly add in. Well, I guess I need to transcribe it to know what actually is going on. Let's transcribe first.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to do this where I divide the window.
Nice.
Oh, no, I don't want the wide. I'm going to make the other one bigger.
Yeah, maybe it's a different part of your brain that does reading versus analyzing when it's.
Yeah, I'm just getting too excited. I need to just like slow down and okay. This indenture made the, do you think that's a 6th day of December 1838 between Samuel Arnold.
I might pull it up on my screen too to just read it up close.
And Francis. Do you want me to send it to you?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to type it, but that'll be better.
Yeah, you guys probably can't see it. That Elizabeth Darnold married Greenberry Sidebottom. Nancy wasn't married. Clement and Blackwell, you don't need to list their spouses' names because this is all a Darnold family. And so we're trying to get the heirs of probably William Darnold, which is amazing.
Oh,
We
cool.
picked the
Okay.
right deed right here.
Hey.
Like the right. You guys, I promise I did not look at this beforehand. Okay. It was because we chose the one with 64 acres on Mill Creek. Seriously.
It was a good match. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Elizabeth, his wife. Oh, I didn't put the line break. I usually like to do the same line break so that when I get distracted, I know
that's
where
smart.
I was.
Yeah.
His wife, and is that Eliza?
Eliza
Darnold, and I think maybe Mary Darnold of the county of Henry and state of Kentucky of the one part, and Thomas O. Powell of the Commonwealth. Now there's something in the margin here.
paid, you paid,
Yeah.
or
Looks like paid. Y'all paid.
Y'all paid.
I doubt that, but that's funny. Okay. Well, let's see. I'm going to put as follows. I'll just put something like a margin note. Yeah. Yan? Okay.
That's a great question.
Okay, we'll just leave it there for later.
Yeah.
Okay, first, beginning at an oak. Ash. Oh, I don't know what that is. Hernebium, elm, and I just skip that sometimes.
Yeah, that was a tough word. And
Ironwood on the east bank, maybe. Listen out. East banks. Oops, I don't think I have my line break where it's supposed to be. As follows.
Oh,
it's because of my margin note.
Yeah.
On the east banks of the Long Branch. Yeah, so we could go on and on with this, but
yeah.
Let's see. Do we really need, like, what is the main info we need from this deed to have and to hold? Yeah, we're almost done. I guess we'll just keep going.
Oh, is it close? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to 60 poles to house. in the line to a HOLSE. I don't know what that is. In the old line, thence with the same west 28 poles to the beginning, containing 64. This is what I wanted, this number, 64 and a half acres to the same more or less together with all and sing the day and date above written. And then a test by John Chilton and A.D. Johnston. And then we have all of the signatures of the heirs who are selling their, presumably their father's land. And it looks like the widow has remarried. And, or could this Frances be a daughter?
Oh, okay, yeah.
When year is this? 1838? Frances was alive because she was on the 1840 census as a 60-year-old woman. So she would have been a Darnold.
So she's alive. Okay.
It was Frances Darnold. So I guess probably at the very top between Samuel Arnold and Frances' wife. Frances must be a daughter who married Samuel Arnold, who's her cousin, which that's weird. But they did that a lot back then. That's my guess. We'll have to look at
Okay.
and see if that's right. But I think these are all the children of William Darnold and his wife Frances Noland. And they're selling the land. There wasn't a probate record, but there's a deed. Well, I wouldn't say that there wasn't a probate record, but we could look better for that. We haven't really looked very hard. Anyways, so let's write all their names again because that's fun. Samuel Arnold.
Yeah.
And Frances.
Her
and
mother? What's that little note in there?
It's her mark. So
her mark.
Sometimes I just do it like this. Frances, her mark.
Oh, okay, cool.
Arnold. That just lets you know that she didn't write her own signature. Often that could mean that she either couldn't sign because her hand didn't work anymore, she was old, or usually it means they were not able to write. Blackwell Darnold. It's so funny that we have Darnold and Arnold, and then one of the Darnold's daughters married an Arnold. What the heck?
Yeah. This makes it confusing.
All right. Clement Darnold, John Yarbrough. So we did Mary, John and Mary Yarbrough. And next is Nancy Darnold. And I didn't say this, but this little squiggle after each name usually is like LS, which is Latin for right here where we signed, or like the seal or something.
Oh, okay. Got it. That's helpful. Oh, and I learned today, you said multiple times, but it was an S and then like a superscript D.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a new one for me.
Yes. And the first time you see it, you're like, what in the world does that mean?
Yeah.
But then after seeing it a bunch of times, you're like, oh yeah, said, referring to what was above.
Yeah.
I'll start using that in everyday language now. All right. So Nancy Darnold, Greenberry Side Bottom. It's nice when you can see the names multiple times because by the fourth time you see it, you're like, okay, now I know it says Yarbrough, but before I couldn't really tell. Elizabeth Side Bottoms. It looks like side bottoms with an NS. I don't know. Eliza Darnold and Henry Darnold. And then this note at the bottom is the treasure. Okay, we've got Clement Darnold, guardian for Eliza and Henry Darnold. So there must have been some younger children who were not old enough to take care of their own finances. So
Clement, their brother, was their guardian. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
What's interesting about this deed is that I didn't see anywhere that it said exactly what was going on. Did you? Like it just said.
Yeah, the description of the land kind of lost it for me a little bit.
Yeah, let's go back and analyze now. So we've got this indenture or deed made the 6th day of December, 1838. So let's add that to our citation. We're probably going to change the order of this, but. And then between Samuel Arnold and Frances's wife. And this is kind of the list of all of the first parts. So what I'm guessing is happening is William Darnold, we know, died around 1828 to 1829. that 64.5 acres that he was being taxed for, his widow continued to live on it and be taxed for it. For some reason in 1838, the heirs decided to go ahead and sell that land. I don't know if maybe Francis was going to move in with somebody else, or maybe whatever happened, they decided to sell the land, and they were going to split the proceeds between all of the heirs.
Okay.
That's usually what happens. And
The
so
party
they
list all the people that,
yeah,
claim
I
to the
think
land.
they're just listing all of William Darnold's children, and then they're selling the land to Thomas Powell.
Okay.
And that with the idea, and usually you'll see this in the probate record, and they'll have like all these receipts and things, and it'll say clearly like all the heirs petition the court to sell the land of William Darnold deceased, and then they split it up, and you can like see on the accounts of the executors or the administrators that each heir was given like part of the proceeds, an equal part of the proceeds of that sale of land. So for whatever reason, we haven't found that probate yet, but we did find this. So this is really helpful because it tells us all the names of the heirs. I mean, we're assuming a lot here, right? Because it doesn't say.
Yeah, but
but from kind
we
of
feel pretty good about that.
what we have found so far, it looks pretty good.
So if the father died 10 years earlier, do you expect we would still find, would we expect that the probate is still in process and this part of would still be in the probate records? Or do we feel like the probate kind of finished, is closed, and separately they decided to sell this land? Or
it's part of the probate process. So I think that this would be part of the whole packet. If we could ever find it, I would expect it to have probably an administrator's report. They would inventory all of his stuff. They would sell stuff. They would divide the land, give it to the heirs. And then once everyone has received, once all of the people that William Darnold owed were paid money, then they would divide what was left of the estate and give it to the heirs, usually.
Okay. So the fact that this is like one parcel of land, these 64.5 acres, but all these names are on this title or this deed transferring ownership, that means it's still in process. Because otherwise, if it were separate parcels of land for each person, then we would know that the probate process had already finished.
Yeah. And so the typical process for a man's land, when he died, it goes to his heirs. And then because probably those heirs already have other land, they don't want to keep the land. So they sell it. Then they can take the money. And the money that they get from selling the land, then they can divide that up a lot easier between like 10 heirs or whatever.
Okay. Thanks for that clarification. Yeah, that's helpful.
But sometimes you'll find that one of the children wants to buy the land. And so then they purchase it from the heirs and live on it. So that can happen too.
Okay.
But cool. It looks to me like Thomas Powell is an outside party and he was just buying it for himself.
Okay.
So
yeah, I haven't seen that name before that I remember.
Yeah, me neither. So he paid $645, and then basically the rest of it is all a land description. And the main things that I drew out of it were that it was on the waters of Mill Creek, and the fact that it was 64.5 acres. And then, of course, all the names were super important. So Samuel Arnold and Francis' wife, and then all these. And it says that they all lived in Henry County. Now, the two names at the very bottom, Eliza and Henry Darnold, they weren't up here, were they? Oh, yeah, Eliza. But where was Henry? Oh, maybe this was Henry, and we thought it was Mary. Let's go back and look.
I'll go back and look, yeah.
Eliza Darnold and Henry Darnold. Yep. Now that we know it's Henry, that was just so blurry. But down here, it does look like Henry.
And they're listed above there, aren't they too? Eliza and Henry, and then.
Oh yeah, they signed.
Okay.
So we'll fix that. Cool.
Nice.
Now we can finish writing our citation. Let's just write it here, and then we'll copy it into the research log.
Okay.
So yeah, well, let's make it big. Usually when there's a whole bunch of people, you don't like include all of their names in the citation. You just say like, Samuel Arnold et al. Or something.
Okay. And do you choose the name or you pick the first name?
Probably the first one, but I'm torn because I kind of want to include some of the Darnold's names.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for now, we'll just do Samuel Arnold and Francis. Oh, yeah, I'm torn. Yeah, well, Samuel Arnold et al. To Thomas. I think we've decided it was S. Powell. So I'll change that
O
here.
versus O. Okay.
Image online. And we got this from Family Search. And now I need to get the URL. All right, did we get everything? So it is just on page 256. We have the parties, the date, and then, oh, we could put in like the DGS number in the images. Sometimes
okay,
that's
yeah.
good to have. Image 413 of 533. Okay. Now, one thing I usually do with these kind of things, I just like to check the page right before and after and make
Just
sure
in
I don't
case we
miss
have any
anything.
overflow. Yeah.
And this, I think, is something else. So the next page, well, let's see. John Tilton and Major Johnson, the Commonwealth of Peace. Oh, yeah. This is part of it. That Frances Arnold, the wife of the within named Samuel Arnold, this day personally appeared before us, who being examined privily. Yeah, I think that means privately. And apart from her husband, as the law directs, voluntarily with her own free will and
consent.
Yeah, they keep using C's where I expected S. Consent, relinquish her rights of dower to the premises conveyed by this deed, and the same is certified to the clerk of the county court for the county of Henry for received where the something lie given under our hands this 10th day of March 1839. Oh, I think all of these are going to be that same thing.
Oh, okay.
All of the wives are going to have to relinquish their right of dower to
Mm-hmm.
that land. So that's going to happen. So here's Elizabeth Sidebottom. Oh, and Mary Yarborough. And then Henry County Court Clerk's Office. I, Edmund P. Thomas, Clerk of the Henry County Court of, do certify that this deed from, oh, here we go. Oh, no, I thought it was going to say the heirs. Yes, it does say. What does it say? I can't see. That this deed from.
Yeah, right on the edge of the page.
Something. Heirs? Heirs?
Oh, heirs right there, yeah.
Thomas S. Powell. Darnold? Heirs? I think that's what it says.
Oh, yeah, okay. I could see that.
So that is good
Donald's
because
heirs.
that's what we were assuming based on.
That's an important word to find.
Yeah, we were assuming that based on kind of the format, but that's helpful to know that this is the Darnold heirs. We can maybe change that in our citation. That might be nice. Darnold heirs to Thomas S. Powell was this day filed in my office together with the foregoing something like
certified or certificates.
Yeah. Thereon written by be duly admitted to record.
Cool.
So awesome. Right. Let's see. We can add to the bottom here. We don't need to take the time right now to do this, but I probably would go ahead and transcribe some of these. Like if this was my ancestor, I would transcribe every single word. I'm just going to put in brackets, though, that there were some women waived their right of dower.
Okay.
And it's the married women, which are the daughters of the Darnold heirs, who are daughters who were married. And then I will transcribe that one little clue there because that's really good to have that clue that it was the Darnold heirs. I think that we need that for our evidence.
Yeah, that really helps make the case, doesn't it?
Yes. but it would be fine without it too. It's just nice. Sometimes it's nice to have that thing saying what you want it to say.
So you would trust it enough even without it, based on the
Yes,
format. Yeah.
just because I know that's how it's certified that the deed from Darnold Ayers to Thomas S. Powell was this day filed in my office, like county clerk, something. Usually they have like symbols after their names that mean what, something like clerk of the county court or something. I don't know. Okay. Now just checking around, making sure we got everything. This indenture made this 21st, 1839 between James Henson and Nancy Henson, his wife. Yeah, so Kentucky is a state where they usually include the wives' names, like you're seeing here, and the dower rights. They had a law about dower rights so that women whose husbands died were allowed to have like a part of that, and that was their dower right, and they could live on it, and they had to consent to selling it. Let's go back one page. I just like to make sure I didn't miss any thing right before or after, kind of like the census. This is James S. Montgomery and Anderson Bush, so that's different.
Okay.
And then, yeah. So this looks like a different group of people too. So what we're going to do now is finish our citation. And we can change it to Darnold Ayers. Thank goodness. Didn't really like putting Samuel Arnold there.
Yeah.
To Thomas S. Powell. And then the page numbers, actually, we need to include 257 because it goes to both pages. And then image for the, yep, that's all right. Good. Now we can copy this into our research log, which I accidentally moved over here by itself. I don't want this anymore. There we go. Okay, so this we replace with that. So originally it said H.S. Darnold to T.S. Powell, but I think that meant heirs.
Oh, okay.
Let's look at it. So this is the index page. I'm just curious now to see.
To go back and look at it with new eyes. Yeah.
Can't remember where it was though. Darnold, heirs.
H,
and then an S over here.
Yeah, it's pretty far apart to be initials, I guess. Is there a direction in there? I mean, are they all S and W, S southwest, south? Is there kind of something directional in those letters? No, it's a J.
I think they're just initials.
Just initials, huh?
Darnold. And they maybe used this to signify heirs in all of them. I don't know. Oh, here it says they just wrote out the word heirs.
Oh, okay.
Who knows? But it's a good thing we looked at that one. That was a good one for us to check out.
Yeah.
Because see, here's T.S. Powell. T.S. Powell. And it was book 18, page 256. And then here's like the 60. Short land description, 64 MC. So
okay.
That's how we knew to check that one versus the other ones. So now, let's see. In our research plan, we had done this land for Fanny Darnold. Well, we found even something better, which was the division of land of the Darnold heirs. And let's see, I'm going to change that. Yeah, the thing I just had open. I'm going to change that to heirs, Darnold heirs to Thomas S. Powell. All right. So since we are, like not going to spend 3 hours doing this, I think let's look at the other deeds and just check and see if there's anything else we want to check.
Because something really super obvious or helpful. Yeah.
So that was 1838. And looking back in time, the first one I found was W. Darnold to J. Nolan. So that could be William Darnold, and he could be like selling some land, I guess. D. Darniel to E. Porter. I don't know who that would be, but those initials aren't always accurate. T.S. Powell. Oh, hey.
Powell. Yeah.
So that one that's a pretty good one, I think.
Yeah.
So let's check that one.
Interesting.
That would be good. And then this, I'm guessing this is Blackwell Darnold mortgaging, deed of trust to Clement Darnold. So that's probably just like not very helpful, except for establishing the fact, more clues that they were family.
But you're saying because it's in the family, it's not as
It's probably not
or
going to say anything else besides Blackwell has a bunch of pots and farming implements that he's mortgaging for this amount of money,
oh, got it. Okay.
and Clement is his like security or whatever.
Hmm.
But I would do this one. So if we have
Okay.
time, I think this one might be interesting because it's in that time period right after William Darnold died. It has our person of interest, Clement, in it, and it has the potential, because it's also on Mill Creek, to mention his relationship to parents, I think. So let's go to book
Okay.
15, page
Yeah.
494, and let's just see what we can find out. Normally, I would just do all of these and just get all the details. And I might not transcribe every single one. The first one we found was super good as far as telling all the names of the heirs of probably William Darnold. So let's go to book 15 and page
494.
494.
Yeah.
This is 14. Is that the one we want?
So we were 15, I think.
15. Go out. This is such an amazing invention, these digitized images.
All right.
Oh, yeah, there's Clement right here. Okay, great.
Okay.
This indenture made this 26th of December in the year of our Lord, 1833. 26th December, 1833. Between Thomas S. Powell and Suey, his wife. What do you think? Oh, Lucy?
Susie? Oh, Lucy, yeah. Susie or Lucy.
We'll have to look at the dower release and see.
Hmm.
His wife of the county of Henry and state of Kentucky of the one part, Clement Darnold of the county and state of Forsyth of the other part, witnesseth that for and in consideration of the sum of $50 to them in hand paid, the receipt of which they do hereby acknowledge they have, and by these presents do grant, bargain, sell, and convey unto the said Darnold all that certain tract of land lying and being in Henry and fall something counties.
Gallagher?
Oh, Gallatin.
Gallatin, yes.
So it's the land
Yes.
that's in Henry and Gallatin counties on the waters of Mill Creek, part of Beale's 5,000 acre survey, and bounded as follows, to wit, beginning at a stake. And I'm not going to read all this, but just let's look for any names that we recognize in the, sometimes it'll say a person's land.
The neighbors that they live
Yeah.
by. Lynn.
To a dead, to Lynn and Buck Island. Sugar trees. Contain 50 acres of the same, more or less together. I didn't see any names of neighbors.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Just kind of the trees. Containing 50 acres of the same, more or less together, with all in singular the appurtenances thereunto belonging, or in any wise appertaining to have and to hold the land hereby conveyed, and appurtenances unto him the said Darnold, his heirs and assigns forever, to his and their only to proper use, receipt, and behoof, and said Powell for themselves, their heirs and aforesaid tract of land, from the claim of themselves, their heirs and assigns, will warrant and forever defend by these presents, it being something eventually understood between the parties that should said land ever be lost by any other claim, that the said Darnold is to have all the recourse which the said Powell has upon the heirs of Samuel Beale, and in addition to what may recovered from S. Beale and said Beale and said Powell, is to refund only so much as will make up said consideration without interest, but in no otherwise found. Okay, so this deed really doesn't give us any info about Clement, really, because he's just receiving the land.
Just receiving. Okay.
but it does have Thomas Powell and Lucy Powell's signature. And then this is going to be the dower release. Clement Darnold said Lucy Powell, being examined privily and apart from the said husband, did say that she did freely and willingly seal and deliver said something. So, yeah, I don't really see anything that helpful here.
So not too helpful. Okay.
Except for we know Clement purchased land on Mill Creek. So let's put a little thing in our research log. Thomas. I guess my comment here is that Clement bought land on Mill Creek. So basically it's evidence that he lived in close proximity, which we already kind of knew because of the tax records. But this is still helpful to Francis and William Darnold. Okay. Well, anything else that you're dying to look at, or should we wrap this up with just any final little clues we need to look for? As far as
none of them stuck out to me anymore.
So here's C. Darnold to W. Edrington. So he's selling that land in 1846. Yeah. And then H.E. Bryant to M. Darnell. This is kind of later in the 1860s. So kind of the ones that I would be most interested in would be like after the death of William. And because Clement didn't come of age until 1830 or so 1822 would be too early for helping us with that. And then anytime after 1830, he would be there. We've got that one. And this one, it's a deed of trust. So I guess we could look at the deed of trust, but for now, I think we've got enough. We went to the most helpful one right away. So that was good.
Yeah, that was good. Good luck. Okay,
let's go over and in our findings and analysis. Okay, did we check off everything? We did the land. Cross it off. Tax for Henry, census for William. Okay, we didn't do that. We better do that. Census records for William Darnold.
So for the father, were we missing one of the decades?
So we had only gone back to 1840, and we found Fanny in 1840. So we didn't do 1830, did we? Oh yeah, we did. 1830 for William, but he wasn't there, right? And so we found. Let's go back. What did we find? 1830 negative search for probate. Yeah, we have the 1840 census. This is why we have to look at our negative searches. Let's see what Goldie May is going to show.
Oh, interesting. Your that line you're on says 1840, but then under the
is it 1830?
It says 30. Yeah.
Thanks. Let's check and see. Francis Darnold. Thank you for catching that.
Yeah.
Okay, 1830 census. Okay. We had found Francis. Now I'm really questioning, did we ever even find her in 1840? Because I thought we did an 1850 negative search.
Oh, that's a good question. Whether we go back and look for her in 1840.
We had found Clement in 1840. Let's sort this by the date. Let's give this prorated date of like 1830 just to get it to sort.
Get it somewhere.
It didn't sort. Okay, it did.
Okay.
So we have Blackwell, Darnell on the tax, and we have William Darnell in the 1828 tax list. Then we have the 1829 with Fanny Darnell. Okay, yeah, I had put the wrong years over here. So this was 1830 for both of them.
Oh, okay.
And then we have the 1830 tax list. And we didn't find Clement in 1830, and he must have been still in the household with Francis. Let's look at that.
Yeah, because he was young, right? He was.
Yeah, because we saw the bunch of, we had seen all these people and didn't know who they were, but now I think we can figure this out. 3 white females, 60 through 69 is probably Fanny. Then we've got a male under 5, probably Henry, because he was needing the financial guardian. Males 15 through 19, that could be Clement. Another male 20 through 29, that could be Clement too. Because let's see, how old would he have been if he was born in 1808?
22?
So he's right there. This other young man was probably another brother. Then we have the daughter who's only 5 to 9. Oh, there's 2 of that age. Yeah. I wonder if they waited until 1838 to sell the land and divide it because there were some young children still. And so once those daughters maybe grew up and got married and there was just the 2 little ones that were maybe like in their teens, maybe they were like, okay, this is a good time to sell the land, divide the land. Most of the people have moved out of the house now and gotten married.
Okay.
Maybe that's why they waited till 1838. Who knows? I would probably check the laws too, just to see if there was some kind of
advantage for them to wait or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a female 30 through 39, which I can't remember now. Clement got married in 1832, so he wouldn't have been married yet. So that could have been a daughter, maybe who wasn't married, or maybe she was living there. Who knows? But yeah, so it looks like this is the Darnold family right after Frances was widowed.
Okay. Yeah.
Now that we have done some more research, we have the clues, results. I'm just going to paste them all here. So we have that. And Clement was probably the male aged 20 through 29 because he would have been 22.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I guess our last thing to do on this census is 1820. We didn't do that. And 1810, where Clement would be a 2-year-old. If we can find that there's a mark for him in both of those years, I think that would be really great. And now like I usually do, I usually go here and just go to hints. So of course I did put in my search and I didn't expect to not find it in Kentucky. Maybe they were still in Virginia, but I don't recognize. I would expect them to be in Fauquier or Virginia. Well, let's go over to the hints because sometimes Ancestry already has it. So William Darnall, hints. Okay, here is something really interesting. It's an inventory of his estate. So somehow when we searched through the Ancestry index of probates for the US, it didn't pop up. But somebody had found it and added it here. So let's check this out. Let's go down this path because we wanted to see this anyway. It's page 75 of a county book, but we don't know which. It just doesn't say what kind of book it is yet. Okay. State of Kentucky, Henry County. So that's what we would have expected. We assumed he died there. SCH. This day personally came before the undersigned and of the justices of the peace in and for the county, William C. Martin, Thomas Powell. There's that Thomas Powell again. He must have been a neighbor. Mm-hmm. And James Scott, and severally they hath something by the. It's just hard to zoom in on this because they can't zoom in.
Oh yeah.
Are given under my hand this 22nd day. Okay. Henry County, December term, 1828. Do you know what that tells me? This is a court record because the court was held at different quarters of the year and they called them terms. December term, 1828. And then inventory and assessment of the estate of William Darnold.
Okay.
So he had died. They were doing an inventory of his estate. Can't really read this, but it sounds like produced in court. Oh, I think the inventory and assessment of the estate of William Darnold was produced in court and being examined by this court was a something and Yeah, maybe. And
Approved and
entered to be ordered to be recorded. Great. So here's William Darnell's list of sales, maybe
yeah.
amount and species of, I think that refers to like money, property belonging to the estate of William Darnell, deceased, sold by John Chilton, and the 22nd of October, 1828. Okay, so now we know that he died by 22nd of October, 1828, which we didn't know for sure before. So we know he died in 1828.
That's
Yay.
helpful. Yeah.
Let's just change this right now because it's wrong. Oh, we'll do it later. But it said 1858, I think.
Oh, that's where they got the
Remember?
date. Yeah.
Yeah. So I had somehow like copied that from somewhere wrong. Um, this just has like a list of all of the stuff they sold: trunk, table, looking glass. And sometimes this can help you determine what type of occupation they had, and that can help you like tie people together, and it can be genealogically relevant. So
Interesting.
it could be good to like transcribe all of that if you needed to get that evidence. Oh, over here, some names. Oh, I missed that.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Mrs. Darnall purchased everything. Right.
Okay.
The first like 10 lines, Mrs. Darnall. I'm guessing that's the widow, Fanny. Then we have James Ellis bought a 2-year-old cat, 2-year-old calves.
Okay.
Mrs. Darnold bought the black cow and a heifer and a white cow. Washington Stanton bought another cow. Mrs. Darnold bought a sheep. Blackwell Darnold bought a sheep. And then, what do you think that says? It's really hard.
In oh yeah,
Good, something Darnold.
Gustav or
Yeah, it looks like a G to me. Anyways, I don't think it says Clement, but
yeah, it looks like a
it
G to
doesn't
me
say
too.
Black. It doesn't seem to say Blackwell.
Who was
What
our
were?
berry guy? Greenberry?
Yeah, but wasn't he side bottom?
Oh, side bottom. Yep.
Let's see who we have. Blackwell, Clement,
No other G's
John,
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
we can change this to Yarborough because we know that
All right.
Yarborough. Yeah, it does seem like it would be Greenberry, doesn't it? But that's okay.
That's
Something. Robert Thomas, Mrs. Darnold bought a balance of wheat. Daniel Stewart, William Cockley, Mrs. Darnold. All the names of people who purchase from someone's estate are usually close neighbors or like sons-in-law or relatives.
okay.
So those are good to keep track of. Okay.
Huh.
So what else is here? Another page that someone found for the inventory and sale of estate. How great that someone added this to their tree.
Yeah.
One roan by Mrs. Darnold and John Chilton, administrator. So since there's an administrator, it seems like he died without a will, intestate. Henry County Court, December term, 1828, list of sales of the estate of William Darnell, deceased, was this day produced here unto court and being examined by the court is approved and ordered to be recorded, which is done accordingly. Okay, so nothing new there. There's another one here with his estate sale. So really, this is just all giving us great information that William Darnell died when we thought he did in Henry County in 1828, and that he died intestate, so we won't be able to find a will. William Darnell died as follows: deceased. This is the inventory. So they went to his house and they figured out all of the items that he had that were worth money and wrote down how much it was worth. And then later they sold it. And this just has the names of the people who were helping with that appraisal. William Martin, which I think we've seen the name Martin before. Thomas Powell. James Scott. Yep. Great. And so that's good. Oh, here we go. And
yeah, those are helpful.
Well, so we should probably find the originals for that. So maybe not for this research session, but let's put it in our research log. Inventory and estate of William Darnell in Henry County Court records. And wait, what's today? Today's the 22nd.
22nd. Yeah.
And we found this on Ancestry right now. And for now, I'm just going to open this as the URL that I want is the one that the person who originally added it will have it as a media URL or whatever. So I'm going to save that one.
Oh, I didn't catch that. It wasn't a record. It was a media
Yeah, it
image.
was somebody had added it to their tree. So 1828, and the citation so instead of citing it from how she had uploaded it, I will go and find the original. That's usually what I'll do. So it'll be like Henry County, Kentucky court something. I'm not sure if it's going to be like circuit court records or county. I don't know. I'll have to go look. And then it's going to be December term 1828. Inventory of and sale of William Darnold. So I'll go find the originals. But for now, I just saved that URL to find it later. And it didn't say Clement's name in there, did it? I didn't see it.
I don't remember Clement's. Yeah.
Yeah, it just said, Williams estate sale included Mrs. Darnold, Blackwell Darnold, and others. All right, great. So
cool.
We've logged that for now. And then scrolling down the hints, we were looking for these two census records, and here they are. 1810 in Fauquier County, Virginia. Yep. Yay. And William Darnell in Henry County, Kentucky in 1820.
Okay.
So why didn't it find it? Oh, because I put in Darnold. So we should have searched with the
wild
what is this called? Wild card.
Yeah.
I wonder if this will bring up too many.
19. So
maybe. So I expected it to be in Kentucky. Let's see if that does it. There it is. So we would have found it eventually. Yep.
And a couple of other William Darnells, which is interesting for an uncommon name.
That's why it's so important to know exactly what county you're starting in with Clement.
If you went to these other counties, you'd be going totally down the wrong.
It would just have been a lot of extra work to figure out the right one. So it was nice that we figured out he got married in Gallatin. And then we figured out that those counties were all created out of.
Oh, right.
And Carroll. Anyways, we did a pretty good problem analysis at the beginning. That helped us.
We kept it tight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do these two census records and then we'll write it up because I think we're going to run out of time soon. So for 1820, let's see, how old would Clement have been? 12?
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for a male free white person's males 10 through 15, 2. So it could have been him and Blackwell.
Okay.
Oh, and you know what's great about this? It has the order of the children. So you can guess that since Eliza and Henry needed a guardian, they were the youngest, and that probably Frances was the oldest daughter, and she was probably named after her mom. And although I did have this nagging question, maybe Frances got married to an Arnold and that was the widow, but that can't be right. Oh, can it be right? Because do we have the 1840 census for them? We don't, do we? Because we only have the 1830. I think we got to add this. We didn't get 1840.
We marked it off on step 1 for Clement, but you're saying that Clement was already living outside the house, so we didn't look for his mom.
Yeah.
In 1840?
Was Fanny remarried to Samuel Arnold in 1840? That's what I don't know. That's a good thought. Yeah. I feel like maybe her remarriage is what precipitated the sale.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we could look for a Samuel in 1840 that's older, like the mom's age versus the daughter's age.
Let's just find out right now because we got to do all 3 of those censuses, 1810, 1820, and 1840. So we're looking for a Samuel Arnold in Henry County, Kentucky.
Wow.
I don't see it.
Oh, could we go tighter on the the little slider for Henry County? Or would that pull it in?
Yeah, there's too many, right?
Too many.
Let's just try Arnold. William Arnold, Calvin Arnall. Could that be Samuel? And they just can read it. Let's look. No, it looks like Calvin. Let's see. He is, I just gotta see if he's at the end of this list. Okay. There's Calvin. Yeah, it does look like
Yeah, it
Calvin.
looks like a Calvin, yeah.
But you can't read some of these names. Well,
okay, so
we could look for a marriage, I guess, for her.
Yeah.
Where am I?
So you're thinking like Kentucky marriages?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just in a okay.
Let's try this collection.
In that period of like 28 to
1830s.
38.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kentucky, 1830-ish. Yeah, this is something where I am not sure because I would want to like check the law and see what happened with when the widow remarried. Is that when they divide the land? So I guess we're just going to have to put that in future research because it's not like super obvious.
The only thing I could think of is like if you search for Samuel Arnold there too.
Yeah, let's try that actually. Let's try that. Samuel Arnold. Well, did it even have Henry County? Let's see. Because sometimes they haven't done the index for all the counties. Okay, they do. Oh, Fanny Arnold, Marshall Neal. Oh, that's later. Okay. That's definitely Arnold. That would be it. Not a Darnold and Arnold. Samuel Arnold.
Oh, yeah.
Adeline Arnold.
Oh, I guess our search is doing any life event instead of marriage, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Let's just type in Darnold.
If that matters.
Oh, and it's not doing our, marriage. Yeah, that's what you were saying, right?
Yeah, maybe that was, maybe that's a factor.
Nope.
Okay.
Maybe Darnell. No. Nothing at all.
Nothing.
So maybe for that time period, they haven't indexed the Henry County marriages.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just see if there's any for that time period. There are some, just not Darnold's. And we already did Arnold, right? Or maybe not.
Maybe not Arnold. Matilda.
All right. Probably, let's see. We kind of jumped around, right? We did a marriage search. We did an 1840 census search.
Yeah.
We found them in the 1820 and 1810 census with the hints. So I'm just going to take a minute and log a couple things here. I'm not going to do the full things. Just going to
placeholder for later. Okay.
Yeah, just so that I can remember. So 1840 census, negative search for Samuel Arnold in Henry County, Kentucky. And I don't remember if we searched for anything, but Samuel Arnold, we probably need to
Was it just
search.
the marriage records where we searched for her name too?
Yeah, I think we probably should look for Fanny Darnold also. I guess we'll just do the wild card.
Yeah.
And Frances, she could have died. Maybe that's why they divided the land. I wonder if I have her death date. I don't think I have it, but
nothing. Okay.
Maybe other people have it in their trees, I guess.
30.
After
That's
1830.
Early.
So some people think she died after 1830. So I'll just put negative search for Samuel Arnold and Frances Darnold. Okay, and then we did a negative search for a marriage, like another marriage of her. Marriage, remarriage.
All right. Yeah.
This is Darnold in Henry, Kentucky. Search. And then we did find the 1810 census for William Darnell and the 1820 census for William Darnell. Can't remember how they spelled it in those.
Yeah.
And these two are going to be helpful for the proof argument because in 1820 it did say that there was a male aged 10 to 20, I think, or was it 10 to 15?
Oh.
And we would have expected Clement to be 12.
Yeah, I think it was 10 to 15. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we would also look for in this 1810. So let's say we've concluded all of our research for this, we finished logging it all. Then we'd come over to here and we'd just start writing up what we found. So let's just do like one paragraph to show kind of how to write the results and then suggestions for future research. And actually, this is a good thing to do right this minute while we know
while we're thinking about it. Yeah.
What we want to say. So in future research, we were going to just maybe do some more marriages.
Trying to decide who that Fanny was, whether it was the mother or daughter. Mm-hmm.
And then was Francis who married Samuel the mother or daughter? And then I would probably do like all the children. But for this actual proof argument, we don't need to do that. So maybe not.
Okay.
We don't need to do either of those. Just kind of curious. So actually, what we really need to do is just write up all the evidence that we have. So write the proof argument.
So you feel like, you've got enough. You've got enough to make the proof argument. So no need to.
The conclusion I feel is that Clement Darnold was the son of William Darnold and Fanny Noland, like the trees that all said. Mm-hmm. And then up here in the findings, what I would probably do here is I'm just going to show you how I would write a report. Usually I don't write the report right here. I just write it in a separate document, but that's fine to do it here. We'll just let's say we're going to write about evidence that Clement is the son of Francis Fanny Noland Donald. Okay. Now, probably my favorite thing that we found is the tax record with Clement next to her and the land record that we transcribed above. Mm-hmm. So probably I would start with something like Clement lived in Henry County. So how do we know that? Let's go back and see. Was it the tax list that we found him on? Because we did find him in 1830, right? Yeah.
No land. White's 21.
Yeah, we didn't put his name, but it's Clement. So
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we can take this citation and say Clement lived in Henry County, Kentucky in 1830, where he was taxed for one white pole. Control Alt F footnote and then paste that.
Nice.
And then he lived near, or let's see, did he live near? Was it alphabetized? I think it was alphabetized. Also in that county were Blackwell, Darnold, and that same year it was Francis. Yeah, so, okay. Right, Fanny Darnell was in 1829. What did we put for the fans here? Francis and Blackwell. So they must have been living nearby. So we would just put, it's funny how like a week later, I kind of forgot.
No, I mean, it shows why you need that research log.
Also within the county were Blackwell Darnold and Francis Darnold. And then we could put another citation that has the like tax information for them, which I don't remember if we got that in a separate one. And then we could put William's tax info. So let's grab that. And we'll say William Darnold lived there in 1828, but dropped off. Well, that would be another citation, maybe. Okay. Then I would probably put like their marriage record at some point. William and Fanny were married in Fauquier, and here's the citation for that. But for now, let's continue with the taxes. So William was not included in the 1829 tax list. And then we would put like a negative search citation. So that's a placeholder.
Oh, okay.
And then
we also found that death record in 1828, or not death record.
Oh, the inventory?
The inventory of his property. Yeah.
Let's put the number of acres. So William Darnold lived there in 1828 and was taxed for 64 acres on Mill Creek. On Mill. That's all it said in the tax. Yeah. And then William wasn't included in the 1829 tax list. Fanny Darnold was taxed in 1829. And then we could put her, which she is right here. So that's kind of how I write up the report. I just kind of grab all the citations that I made and try to craft a paragraph. All right. And then we could put in also that the land. So then maybe I would do like another paragraph. So William Darnold probably died. Let's see. Let's just say he died before 8 October 1828 when his administrators did an appraisal, an inventory. Okay. And then our other piece of really good evidence was that land record.
Yeah.
So we would add a footnote for this. And I didn't make this one yet because I didn't find the original yet, but it's the inventory. Okay. So I would go look in the court records and find that. And then the heirs of, I'm just going to put Darnold heirs because it didn't say who they were the heirs of.
Yeah, true.
Together with all of the tax records, you know, and the inventory that we know happened in 1828, this makes sense. The Darnold heirs sold 64 acres on Mill Creek in Henry County, Kentucky to Thomas S. Powell in 1838, I think. We made a citation for that. Here it is.
Okay.
And then we could just list out all the heirs. The heirs included Blackwell Darnold and Clement Darnold. And so then I guess we would, we had already put Blackwell up here. So we included him in the tax information. It seems like they were all there together. Then William had died, and then the heirs split up the land. And then we could just kind of conclude like the proximity of Clement to Francis Darnold shows that they were probably related, and the deed of the Darnold heirs provides even more evidence that he was the son of William Darnold and also Francis. And the way that you usually prove that in genealogy is by saying, if Francis was still alive and we have the marriage, then any children that were born in the time from the marriage till when the wife died, those were that wife's daughters and sons, because she was the one married to the man, So we can say like Clement was the son of William Darnold for sure, because he was in that list of heirs. And because we know that William had been married to Frances, then we also know that Frances was the mother of Clement. And that's the
Cool.
parent-child link we wanted to prove. So
Okay.
there we go. So we did our, a little sampling of the final step of Research Like a Pro, which is writing our report. And, you know, probably to tie up any loose ends, I would just check, those land records. So I guess we can put that here. Land records, those deeds that I had found in Henry County. And
you just go browse those and make sure there's nothing else there.
yeah, we just go to each one and see if that had any clues. And then the original inventory and estate of William Darnold. All right.
All right. Okay. Wow. That's cool to see all this come together.
Yay.
Yeah.
So there were some good records there, but nothing was super direct, right? Like it was all kind of pieces that we had to put together.
Yeah. The number of acres, right? To like connect it between records. Yeah. Very cool. Wow. Well, thank you, Nicole. It's been really cool to see this. I appreciate you doing this.
Thanks.